I already know this is gonna be one of my favorite videos. Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. Today we're here and we are going to be talking about pop culture. And not just any pop culture, because that wouldn't be any fun. We're gonna be looking at and ranking some of the most unserious, the most chronically online pop culture moments, flops, and icons that I simply can't get out of my head. And I'm sure once we get into the list, you probably can't either, or at least you won't after this video. This one goes out to my baddies that are into some really brain rot material. Well, not all of it is brain rot, but especially if you happen to be on the chronically online side of Twitter and TikTok, we'll be right here, because a lot of these memes, a lot of these moments, and a lot of these icons just make me laugh every time I think of them. So yeah, I also decided to dress up in an equally unserious outfit. As you can see, these shoulder pads, it's really giving villain, it's really giving motorsport. Put that thing in sport. Like, I don't know, it's kind of gaggy and fits the theme. I'm just so excited for this. A lot of my recent videos have been kind of serious, so it's time we get a little bit unserious. But before we get into this tier list, if you are new to the channel, then definitely subscribe. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and follow me on my socials at Imurgency on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All at Imurgency for additional content. And if you want exclusive content and early access to every single video, then be sure to click the join button to become a channel member today for as little as $2 a month. But let's get into this tier list. So as you can see here, we have a lovely tier list broken up into 5 tiers. And a semi-small list of pop flops, icons, and moments. But starting off at the bottom of this tier list, we have the flop tropica tier. Now this tier of pop moments really are just flops. They reside in flop tropica, and not in the good way either. Memes in this tier are either just like bottom of the barrel, not necessarily something super iconic in my book, kind of just came and went, and I wouldn't say is anything like super long-lastingly iconic. The tier above that is the meh tier, and moments in this tier are, as the title suggests, just meh. Again, nothing super memorable, but not necessarily a flop. The tier above that is the made its rounds tier, and moments on this tier definitely made their rounds around social media, didn't have a lot of staying power for the long term. You don't really hear people talking about it very often after the fact, but it definitely did make its moment while it was making its rounds. The tier above that being the iconic at least tier, and I want to clarify, that doesn't suggest that it's anything less than iconic. It actually means that moments in this tier reside in the iconic category at the very bottom of the spectrum and can go all the way up to legendary status. So things in this tier are iconic. Duh, that's the baseline at the very least. Which then brings us to our top tier of pop flops, moments, and icons, which are just so memorable, so well quoted, so just generally monumentous in my book that they are etched into the pop Bible. And I know we've mentioned the pop Bible previously in previous ranking videos when we're talking about pop stars. I am now expanding the pop Bible to include all things pop culture. So yeah, the girlies in this tier are honestly hand engraved into the pop Bible, cover to cover. But with that out the way, let's get into this tier list. And I'm going to try and explain some of these to the best of my ability for those of you that aren't as chronically online and aren't as familiar with these moments. So if you're looking at this list and being like, Rumi, what is this? Sit tight, buckle up, and get ready for a good old time, okay? Starting us off strong, number 1 being the Julie Ragbeer debate. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who Julie Ragbeer is, I do not blame you. A lot of people didn't either until fairly recently, when a certain Twitter account by the name of Pop Tings, which for those of you that aren't on Twitter is typically a pop culture page similar to the likes of Pop Base, Pop Crave, Pop Buzz, who all post about like pop culture news, music news, like whenever someone drops a new single or a new album, you're going to hear about it. They're going to be the first people to post about it. Whenever there's celebrity news or drama, they're the first people to talk about it. So generally you look at these sources as like reputable pop culture outlets, where if they say like someone's releasing new music, or if they are saying someone has a new music video out, you assume like, okay, this person is an established star, or they're on the rise, essentially pretty established in the public eye, with the likes of Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, Renee Rapp, Chloe Bailey, etc., etc. Now enter Julie Ragbeer. Pop Tings posts on a random day in February that Julie Ragbeer reminisces with her 19-year-old experiences in her new debut album, which causes everyone to be in a tizzy of who is Julie Ragbeer? Because until then, not many people knew who Julie Ragbeer was. was. And the picture that they use in this tweet looks like a regular selfie. So people were gagging over like, what is going on? Is this payola? Like, why would she post it up there? It was really random. Turns out Miss Ragbeer ended up paying these Twitter accounts for this promotion. And once that got out, the memes started circulating. And of course, as the internet does, we made her a Twitter icon, specifically a Twitter K-pop icon. Memes had started circulating about her and about the situation. And eventually, this is an example of paid promotion ironically working out. People started streaming her music and making her famous simply for the meme of it all. The music itself is not great. If I'm being honest, like, shout out to Julie. I love Julie down, but the music is not great itself, but it's simply iconic because homegirl really made a life for herself. Like, shout out to her and her whole aesthetic, her whole moment online. Like, she's an icon. Shout out to Julie Ragbeer. In my book, I must say that Julie Ragbeer is iconic at least. Like, that situation is just like never not funny to me. Let me stream really quick.
Scientists got nothing on her. She made the way, yeah.
Shout out to Julie Ragbeer. Next pop moment is with Doja Cat, and this is actually pretty timely considering that the Met is coming up. But this is Doja Cat at last year's Met, meowing during interviews and really embodying the cat part of Doja Cat.
Wait, so who made it? Wow. Wow. I'll see you in there. Wow.
This was honestly just entertaining and incredibly unserious. Like, why was she on Vogue's YouTube page just meowing during interview questions? Like, you could see during their interview that Emma Chamberlain was just kind of just like, what's going on? And rolling with it. But Doja was committing to the bit, and the fact that her designer was just there like, just makes it so unserious. Like, oh my god, it was too funny. And what made it even funnier was that people afterwards were so mad about it. Like, people had whole commentaries about it. People had think pieces about like whether or not it was disrespectful for Doja to be meowing during interviews at the Met and how unprofessional of her. Like, it was just so funny because none of it was that serious. None of it was that serious. I'll say it again. Like, there are valid reasons to be mad at Doja Cat, but her meowing at the Met is not one of them. Simply, it is not. Like, if anything, it was I'm excited to see what her outfit gives this year. But yeah, simply iconic in my book. I'm going to put it in the made its rounds tier because I feel like it did make its rounds. A lot of people don't talk about it very often, but it definitely made its rounds around social media during that time of year. Next up is honestly one of the more unserious ones on this list. Y'all remember when Snoop Dogg was like, I'm quitting the smoke, like I'm giving up smoking, and like everyone online went crazy for like a day or two being like, oh my god, why is Snoop Dogg giving up smoking? Like, his whole thing is that like he smokes, like that's his whole shtick. Like I can't believe he's giving it up. Is this a new era? Like, should we put down the smoke too? Like, what's going on? All these think pieces, all this speculation online, just for him to be like, I'm putting down the smoke from my fire pit. And it was all just an ad for a smokeless fire pit. One, that is a very unserious man. Snoop Dogg, Snoop Lion, Snoopy Doopy Doo. Like, he is an unserious man. Because one, who gives up about a smokeless fire pit? Who is buying a fire pit, for one? And who is buying a fire pit because of Snoop Dogg? I want to know their sales numbers. Did that actually work? Maybe it did because of the meme of it all. But like, that is such a random collab. Snoop Dogg, smokeless fire pit. I'll let you do the math. Like, it was just too funny because you really just can't make this shit up. Like, it just sounds like something someone on Twitter would concoct as like a dream collab or like a very funny collab, and they did exactly that. So for that, I gotta give it its props. In terms of its pop momentum, I'm gonna put it in meh. Actually, I'm gonna put it in flop tropica. Snoop is going in flop tropica only because the meme of it all really did piss me off in the moment, being like, a smokeless fire pit? Huh? Oh my goodness. I just looked out at my phone. I can't escape. Next up is John Travolta and Idina Menzel. And I think this is at the Oscars or the Grammy. I forget what it was at exactly. I forget what award show this was at, but it's the iconic Adele Dazeem.
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
Like, John Travolta really got up there and was like, the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. Like, who the hell is Adele Dazeem? That's Idina Menzel.
Adele Dazeem.
I love how if you look up Adele Dazeem on Google, Idina Menzel comes out. Oh, Ghoul is messy. That could be her alter ego at this point. Like, it was just too funny. Like, Adele Dazeem, like, it sounds like you're casting a spell. Which makes it even funnier because of the wicked pun that he was trying to do. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. Maybe that's what it was. That's just too funny to me. That gives like SNL with Larry David introducing Ariana Grande, where he's like, and now, Ariana.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ariana.
Oh my god. I have to say that Adele Dazeem is iconic at least because, hello, Adele Dazeem. I don't know. It does something to me. Next up, also revolving around the Met Gala theme. I think this is one of the most iconic Met Gala memes besides, I think it's like, is it Neo or Usher that's falling down the stairs? I don't know. Or is it Jason Derulo? One of them is tumbling down the stairs every year, allegedly at the Met Gala. Pardon the landscaping that's going on outside my apartment. That's also pretty unserious. But Miss Karlie Kloss, she made history when she brought that mirror up to her eye and said to the internet, to the world actually, looking camp right in the eye, and then wore this. Like, you could have swore it was the year of camp at the Met. And the way she was guessing it up, the way she had that eye, that nasty eye looking in the corner of that mirror, you could have swore that the forbidden descendant of Lady Gaga and Prince descended from the sky, draped in the finest, funkiest silks, and draped it upon Karlie Kloss to walk the Met Gala carpet, because my girl was fierce. My girl was nasty. She was looking like she was coming out for blood, and then walked out looking like she was the golden ticket from Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Like, what about that was camp? What about it was camp? Ain't nothing about it was camp. And the angle at which the picture was taken of her just like, was too funny because you could tell she thought she was eating it. She thought she was staring down the eyes of camp. Whole time camp was in the opposite direction. Like, it was so funny, and it is referenced every year at the Met Gala since. I think about this meme, this moment, at least once a day, and it's honestly haunted me ever since 2019, which is like 5 years ago at this point. So yeah, Karlie Kloss, you are etched into the pop Bible, my friend. I am so sorry. I'm excited to see what she wears this year, because I forget, what's the theme this year? This year is Garden of Time. So I hope that Karlie is looking Eve and Eden right in the eye this year. Next, oh my God. Next. Oh my God. Next is Olivia Rodrigo, AKA Olivia Rodriguez, the little Mexican girl that be crying. If you don't know this meme, that sounds crazy. Let me explain. Basically, like a month or two ago, Olivia Rodrigo came out with this crumble cookie collab for her Guts tour and her Guts album. The cookie looks like this, right? And as you know, there are these crumble cookie reviewers online that their content basically revolves around them every single week trying out Crumble Cookie's new selection, right? Normally that's all fine, although sometimes I do have a little bit of pause about the ethical practices of that, because you could tell that sometimes, like, the whole shtick is that they eat every single cookie for each week, although I doubt that they actually do that. And a lot of it is kind of faked, I fear. Like, they act like they're eating the entire cookie, but they'll really just take a bite and then spit it out off camera. I don't know how I feel about that ethically, and if they are eating every single cookie, I don't know how I feel about that health-wise. Maybe just taste the cookie. But this one reviewer tries the Olivia Rodrigo cookie, but similar to the Adele Dazeem situation, I don't think this man, he is an older gentleman out of the target age range of Olivia Rodrigo's fan base. I don't think he really knew who Olivia Rodrigo was, because why, when he tried the cookie, he's talking about some girl named Olivia Rodriguez.
Olivia Rodriguez, y'all know that little Mexican girl they be singing all them sad songs. Yeah. Olivia Rodriguez, the little Mexican girl they be crying. 0 out of 10.
And what gets me about this is that he gives the cookie a 0 out of 10 after he butchers her entire name and references her not as a Grammy Award-winning artist, not a singer-songwriter, not an ex-Disney act, but as that little Mexican girl that be crying. When that girl's name is not Olivia Rodrigo, nor is she Mexican. Olivia Rodrigo is a Filipino woman. And it was just so funny, like the sound went viral online to the point where Olivia Rodrigo herself even used the sound trying her cookie. Like it was too funny. It was too funny. So yeah, that goes into iconic at least. At least iconic. Like I love that moment. It is too funny to me. Next up, Wendy Williams. No, not a specific Wendy Williams moment, but Wendy Williams as a whole. I feel like Wendy Williams, I've made a whole video talking about Wendy Williams. If you want to go check that out, you can definitely do that. But Wendy Williams is the mother of so many pop culture moments. Like off the top of my head, there's shout out to everybody with social anxiety. I kind of feel bad for you. The shame on you, Mr. and Mrs. Spears. Death to all of them. Hold on. Wendy Williams is a fat whale.
Wendy Williams is a fat whale.
Like there are just so many moments with Wendy Williams where she's just so funny, so iconic, and I am just so sad that she is in the state that she is in because the world needs her. The world honestly needs her. The yin and yang of pop culture is set off of balance. Like we don't have our North and South Pole keeping pop in check. Like between Azealia Banks and Wendy Williams, these are the only two forces that can keep pop culture from running amok. And since Wendy is down and out the count, we only have Azealia Banks as like our chaotic. I don't know if she'd be the chaotic good or the chaotic evil. Maybe she's chaotic neutral, I don't know. But only having one pole is really just setting things out of whack. That's why we're seeing so many rap beefs. That's why we're seeing so much drama, so much controversy, because we don't have our two forces keeping things in check and calling out people for being ridiculous. Like it's really spooky out here. I hate to see it. I just want Wendy back, and I'm sure all of us do too. So yeah, Wendy Williams, you will always be etched in the pop Bible to me. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not. I don't apologize for anything. I meant that. Next up is Rihanna on the Burj Khalifa. This video is getting collectively more unserious because what? No, because if you did not know, if you are unaware, Rihanna was once projected on the Burj Khalifa, aka the largest building in Dubai, and I think it might be the largest building in the world. Except the proportions were all wrong, and they made her forehead look huge. They distorted my girl, and she did not deserve that. And the whole thing of it all is that she would just randomly pop on the tower and be like, "Hello, Dubai."
Hello, Dubai. I am so honored to be projected on the Burj Khalifa.
Like time and place, like please be considerate of how that is going to look. They could have done a test run because it's crazy. It's honestly crazy. I don't know how long it was being projected on the Burj Khalifa, but I know whoever caught that video made history that day. And for that, it goes into iconic at least. Next up is Nicki Minaj, but specifically the audio of Nicki Minaj when she was on her radio show talking about Harriet Tubman. In the words of Nicki Minaj,
"You think Harriet Tubman was walking around with a nice shiny dress on with a crown on her head when she was taking slaves to freedom?"
Right. Like what? I think that Nicki quotes are some of the funniest forms of media out there just because they are always so ridiculous. Like she will say the most outlandish things, especially when she's reading her Instagram and TikTok live comments, like so out of pocket. But like in this situation, because it's brought so out of context, like what was she referencing when she was talking about Harriet Tubman wearing a crown around her head, leading slaves to freedom? Like what? That is insane. The sound effects too, insane.
To freedom!
But I think about that and quote that so often. I have to put it in iconic at least. Like it is an iconic sound, it is an iconic moment. Love that. Next up, honestly very well timed with everything that's going on between Kendrick and Drake right now. BBL Drake. The BBL Drake trend was cursed. Honestly cursed. Y'all remember that era where that one video of the Drake lookalike being like, "I used to be a lover boy." What? Like it was too funny. Like the dance, the move, the head bob, the boomerang of it all. Too funny, and everyone started doing it too. Like BBL Drake will never not be funny, right? Because time and time again, these allegations get brought up in different ways. Like whether it be a song that he puts out, whether it be him just coexisting and being a little bit quote unquote unquote sassy. He will never beat the BBL Drake allegations, and in fact, I think he leans into it sometimes, but this was honestly the start of it. This was the start of it. Whenever the Drake lookalikes started populating on the internet, the one doing the little dancey dance, the one in the short shorts and the heels walking across the street, like, it was an iconic moment for me. I think about that a lot. However, in comparison to the rest of the things on this list, I am going to put it in meh, just because I feel like while it was kind of iconic, it's not my favorite out of the ones on here. So yeah, shout out to BBL Drake. Next up is one that has recently had a resurgence, and that is, oh, that's not. I feel like a lot of people are familiar with this because it has gone viral again fairly recently, but Kelly Osbourne was on The View quite a few years ago talking about President Trump. And she's essentially trying to make the point that it was hypocritical for old Donald to want to be xenophobic, considering that the people that he would be xenophobic to are also people that are in service to his day-to-day life. But the way Kelly expressed that was just very uncouth, to say the least.
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be
in LA, they always,
but
they don't.
Latinos are not only the only people
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
Okay.
Like, I'm not part of this argument with.
I think what you're saying is that Trump himself
he needs to look out
probably relies on a lot of these people that he's insulting.
I think
and this moment honestly went down in pop culture history. This happened so long ago, but the clip goes viral at least once a quarter and is the reason why we say, oh, that's not. Like, I didn't realize, oh, that's not came from this exact clip until, like, I want to say last year. I always just thought, oh, that's not was a funny little thing, but seeing the full context of this all, it's just too good. It's too good because Kelly was really there fighting for her life. Like, everyone was jumping her. People were like, oh, that's not Kelly, no. And she's over there fighting for her life. She's like, well, no, in the sense that in LA, come on guys. Like, she was fighting for her life up on that stage, and it was so funny. You can see the fear in her eyes. She saw her career flash before her eyes, being like, oh no, I'm going down as a racist. Oh my God. And I'm just so glad that got documented and has become the lighthearted pop culture moment that it is, because it is just so funny. I feel like everyone is at a point in life where they're the, oh, that's not, or they're the, in the sense that friend. And the duality of that, honestly, is heartwarming to me. So for that, Kelly, you are etched into the pop Bible. I am sorry. Next up is a moment that I quote so often. I actually have done it in this video at least once so far. And that is the, have you ever been to Krispy Kreme, girl? And this was a TikTok that came out, I want to say a year or two ago, of this person's grandma coming up to the person filming and being like, have you ever got a Krispy Kreme? Have you ever been to Krispy Kreme? Was it crispy?
Have you ever had a Krispy Kreme? Have you ever gone to Krispy Kreme? Was it crispy?
No.
Yeah, right.
I just love moments like this because this really just details the human experience for me. Like, sometimes the only thing you can say in response to some disappointing information is right. And I'm so sad because I say this so often, like it is a part of my vernacular, and many people just don't get what I'm referencing. They just think I'm like, right. Like, when I say right, I am talking about Miss Redhead over here. I'm talking about this queen. Like, she did what needed to be done and delivered. And so for that, she's iconic at the very least. Now we're into the final four, and this is where it gets real juicy. JoJo Siwa. Karma edition. Now this is a pop flop. Not the song, because the song actually ended up doing fairly well, but the whole marketing, the whole scenario around it, was giving very floppy Anna. Like, from the dance, from the little, like, that dance is so funny to me. Like, it is so unhinged. Like, when you slow it down and look at it frame by frame, what is going on? And then when you play it at full speed, you're also just like, what is going on? Like, there are so many videos out about the JoJo Siwa Karma image transition out there. I was thinking about making a video myself, but I saw that one of my good friends and fellow creators, Madison Brown, made an amazing video on the JoJo Siwa situation, so you should definitely go check that out if you haven't already. I think the pendulum has skewed so far in the cringe / trying too hard sector that it has swung back around and launched JoJo Siwa into the campy area in pop music. Like the pendulum has shifted back and now she's revered as a gay icon. And I just find this really iconic. I find it very funny. Like from the dance, from the dream guests on my podcast, like everything about this era is so unserious.
Dream guest on my podcast?
And like song originality and credits aside, I think that it's fun. I think that it's entertaining for something to be so publicly cringe. And an image transition, I feel like whatever comes next after this era is going to be gag worthy. But for right now, I think I'm gonna put the karma of it all and made its rounds. Now I fear this next one is one of the most chronically online moments on this list. And this is very, very niche, so if you get it, you get it. And this is the Jiafei, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Jiafei, the entity, but more specifically Jiafei's In My Head cover remix version by Ariana Grande, the Jiafei version of that. And if you're unfamiliar with Jiafei, don't worry, I have a brief bio from the Flop Talk wiki. Hold your horses. Jiafei, born on March 6th, is one of the founding mothers of Flop Talk and hardworking product queen, inventor of iconic products and a musician, as well as running the Flop Tropica Secret Service Duboisian torture unit. She's a very famous and iconic person in Flop Tropica and has her own kingdom and city in Flop Tropica named after her. She is also in charge of jiafei, whatever that means. Basically, jiafei is basically like a bot account, but like crucial to the lore of Flop Talk. And if you aren't on Flop Talk and don't know about Flop Tropica and the whole lore behind that, study up. There's a whole wiki to learn your history. But what we're talking about in this list is that there's a cover. There are many covers by jiafei, but the one of Ariana Grande's song In My Head is just so funny for me. What was that? When I came across this on TikTok, I was gagged and enraptured by the talent, the vocal prowess, the production of jiafei. And honestly, she's mother. But because of her nature and because of everything that's going on, she's going straight to Flop Tropica. I'm sorry, that's her home. That's her home. Next up is Tokyo Toni. I love me some Tokyo Toni. She is funny. But for this specific moment, this comes down to the infamous, well, yes. I think Tokyo was being interviewed on some carpet, being asked whether or not it is gay if a man engages in homosexual activities. And her response to it all is, well, yes. And that took the internet by storm.
Well, that reminded me because Tank, he's getting a lot of flack right now because he said that if a guy gets fellatio from another man, it makes him gay. Do you think it makes gay?
Well, yes. Okay. If anytime you deal with the same sex, no matter on what level, it makes you gay. It's not such a thing as bisexual. Either you're heterosexual or you're gay.
So you're not bisexual, are you?
No, I'm gay.
You're... Okay, Tokyo. Okay. I'm gonna try to figure you out.
Lives were changed that day, truly. Like that video rewrote some of my brain chemistry the first time I heard it because I have not gone a day without saying, well, yes, or well, no, or well, sorta, kinda, since. It is just like the perfect response to any and everything and will be used and has been used as a response to any and everything. So this mother right here, she is etched in the pop Bible. Like she changed lives that day. She hopped on the carpet and said, well, yes. So yeah, top of the tier list, well, yes. And finally, the last unserious pop flop. This is really a pop flop. And one of the most recent, actually the one that inspired this video, was the fake Challengers poster that came out for the Challengers movie. When this popped on the timeline, lives were changed because people thought this was a real poster. A lot of people thought this is a real poster. It would be very problematic if it was because while it does say challengers, it also does the way that it's graphically aligned. It says child, right. And it was just so funny. I remember first seeing this and seeing the discourse on this. It was so like some people were genuinely offended, being like, I can't believe they came out with that. Like, who was a part of the marketing department? This is what happens when you get rid of DEI. But like, it was fake. And it is funny the way that people went and used this. And now people are using it as like a noun. I know that I got a mixed audience on here, so I don't wanna harp too much into the jokes. I saw a tweet. It was in quotes, Gina Rodriguez, who gives you... Gina Rodriguez, who gives you the heebie-jeebies? And then they posted the movie poster. It was too funny. And the fact that the Challengers movie actually came forward and was like, these are our only 2 real posters, and cleared it up. They were so quick with it. The fact, I don't know if you clocked this, after the fact, at one of the premieres for Challengers, Zendaya wore a dress of like the actual poster. So now when you look up Challengers poster, you just see articles and stuff about Zendaya's dress as opposed to the controversy of this fake article. That was smart, that's cleanup, that's professional SEO hiding. Like, shout out to their team for burying that. But this was very funny. And I'll say this, it can't be funny for everybody, you know. Let's not laugh too hard, okay? I'm looking at you. I see some of y'all chucking a little bit too hard at that. Watch your mouth. Chill out a little bit. This was iconic, a moment in history for sure. But yeah, this is our list of unserious pop moments, y'all. A lot of iconic moments. Not as many in Flop Tropica or Meh as I thought, but I feel like this is a pretty cohesive list. I love this. I want to know your thoughts. This is one of the most fun videos I've ever made. If I'm being quite honest, I've had such a great time, and I hope you had a great time watching it. If you want to see a part 2 to this, to more unserious pop moments, let me know down in the comments, and let me know what are some of your favorite pop flops, pop moments. But yeah, y'all, that's it from me. Again, if you're new, then definitely subscribe, leave a like on this video, follow me on my socials at Imurgency. But other than that, I have an emergency, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.